and how easy and simple it is to make your claims are going to be, broken down as easily as possible. And with me sharing insight and, clearing everything regarding claims when it comes to fire is Subomi Popoola. Good evening and welcome to Smooth 98.1. And yes, you're welcome to the Safe Cruise.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
My pleasure having you. Okay, yes, I know. All that intro, don't worry. It's me. That's my style. Anyways, Subomi will be telling us, he will help us understand the claim process and how to walk us through it. Because one thing is experiencing a damage, another thing is knowing how to go through it. And when it comes to fire, right, I've heard how people are devastated. I've not just heard, I've seen certain instances where people are devastated because having to get back all the things that they've lost is usually very difficult. But what is the first thing someone should do right after a fire happens to make sure that they're on the right track?
Okay, thank you very much. So, the first thing, obviously, would be to ensure that, the person is safe and,
True.
You're able to combat the fire, call the necessary authorities.
Mm-hmm.
But right after that, in terms of the claim process, the first thing is to notify your insurer as soon as as soon as possible.
Okay.
So the essence of that is to ensure that everything is on track and the investigation, of the claim and the incident can commence immediately and the documentation process can start. So the earlier, the better.
I like that. So just first, be safe. Secondly, have all your documents. But here's the thing I want to even say. Supposing I don't have access to my documents and it's all gone up in the flame because you're saying I should have my documents, right? It's not intentional that the fire, it got to my apartment or wherever it is. And here I am. I don't have access to those information that I should have. How can I now go through it? Or how do I get the right access to make my claims?
Like you're right, things like that do happen. You have, especially in the cases where you have, small traders who tend to keep some of their documents, like, the records of all the items they have in their store, and it gets burnt in the fire. That is a real thing. But like I said, the first thing is to notify your insurer.
Okay.
And that would help us confirm the validity and genuineness of a claim.
Oh, okay.
So the important thing, notify your insurer, will get there, confirm that this incident happened. Things like that do happen, it's part of life, but notifying your insurer at the right time
the first thing.
is the very first thing in the claim process.
Please don't wait though, as has been said right now, please, immediately happens. As long as you're safe, you're in a good space, the next thing you want to do is notify your insurer. But when a fire happens, how do you get access to process that or kickstart that claim plan? Because, okay, so I've notified my insurer. What else do I need to do to make sure that my claims are gotten, or at least something is being done?
Okay, so the first thing, after like we mentioned just now, after you notify the claim, so there is a claim form that will be sent to you to fill. So you put in your basic details, when the incident occurred, what time, how it occurred, that kind of thing. So, when you send that to us, there's some other items we typically request for.
Okay, let's even get into that. What are those documents that people typically need when filing a fire claim? Because it's one thing to say, okay, I've notified them, they've come, they've seen it. What exactly do I need? Do I need to have proof that I've been paying my premium? Do I have to have a document somewhere signed that, okay, this is what it is, or the things? What exactly? So maybe you help us break it down.
Okay,
that way
so
we can get it.
I'll break it down. I'll make it. I don't want to go too overboard yet, so I don't want to complicate matters. So I'll make it as simple as possible.
Okay, fair
so
enough.
The first thing is the completed claim form.
Okay.
After that, we would typically need photographs. Because sometimes photographs are taken as the incident is occurring, or things like that. So it doesn't mean we wouldn't still go and check, but
right.
Depending on the quantum, or the extent of loss, the photographs are important. It gives us an insight into how it was before we got there.
Okay.
So usually there's like an incident report. So that one is a much more detailed description of how the incident occurred, what led to the fire, those types of things. So we'd need that, as well as like what we call an estimate of loss or a statement of claim. So that kind of gives us an insight into the total amount that was lost. So, I mean, it's an estimate. So the client can say, okay, for example, the goods that were in this store were worth 20 million naira at the time of the loss. So at least it gives the insurer an insight into the extent of what has been lost and what is being claimed for by the customer.
Well, that is important. However, a lot of people usually wonder if fire insurance actually covers everything. And here's why I'm saying this, because there are certain instances where you will hear, okay, no, certain things are not covered. We have to make sure that you have done your due diligence. There's that. Then probably when they've done their research as well, they now find that this was actually as a result of your own mistake. So walk us through.
Okay, so I mean, like you said, there are certain types of exclusions that are in policies. Some are general, some are specific. So I'll give you an example. So in a typical fire and special perils policy, there is something called an electrical installation clause. So I would explain it in layman terms, for the purpose of your listeners.
Yes,
I don't
please.
want to go too technical.
Yes, please.
So let's say there is a fire in a building, and after the fire, it is discovered that the fire started from the air conditioning system. So typically, electrical fires tend to start from places like that. So, and obviously when it starts, the electrical spark, combustion, it spreads. So now, the electrical installation clause pretty much states that every other item that was burnt as a result of that incident would be covered. Now, the particular item that started that fire is an electrical appliance. Now, that item will not be covered because the cost of that singular item won't be covered. So let's say the AC starts the fire and every other thing gets burnt.
TV,
those other things, those other things will be covered.
But the AC
itself that started the fire would not be covered. So that's one aspect where, sometimes I think
people don't realize it.
Yeah, so when you try to explain it to them, it's a bit difficult, but you kind of...
it's the same thing now. Yeah.
Yeah, but
you don't read your...
Yeah, that's it too. So, I mean, it's just to kind of... carry them along and explain as much as possible to them, so that they understand, and you can they can be guided, and they understand the policy that they purchased at the end of the day.
So it's always important to even know what your policy carries. It's not just purchasing the policy or saying, okay, but it's for fire now, it's covering everything. No, there are exclusions. It's important to read what those exclusions are so you are not caught off guard. But is it, certain things when it comes to fire, right? You're definitely not prepared. You're not expecting it. Is it just about the financial side, or how does AXA Mansard even come to support? Because claims, when you hear claims, you're already thinking, okay, they're going to help me get back everything. Is it just the financial aspect, or are there other things that AXA Mansard also covers when it comes to fire losses?
Okay, so I would explain it this way. I mean, like you said, when you suffer or an individual suffers a fire, it's not something that, you expect, or it's not even something that you want. Obviously. Because, if you're a business owner, it puts you in a very, very tough and, financial situation.
Yeah.
Mentally, you're not, in the right frame of mind when that kind of thing happens, because you've lost a lot of things. But what we do, first of all, is when you report these kind of incidents, the first step is to always establish contact with the customer. Kind of empathize, pretty much empathize with them, find out if they're okay, how they're doing, it's important. I mean, it goes a very, very long way because it makes the customer feel comfortable. It makes them understand that, it's not a relationship that is strictly transactional, that you actually have their best interest at heart. So also another thing that is very important is that, they don't understand the process. So you have to keep them abreast of the process at all times, give them real-time updates. Okay, we've done this, we're doing this, this is how long it's going to take. You need to submit your documents as early as possible if you need a quick, and prompt settlement. The longer you delay, the longer it will take to settle. So what we do at AXA Mansard is to pretty much have these relationships with our customers. I mean, one of the core values of the company is customer first. So we put our customers first. We put ourselves in their shoes so that, that way you have a feel of what they're going through. You can empathize with them. You can carry them along and handhold them through the process until, the claim has been concluded. And that way we find that, customers appreciate that, they appreciate it, and it, at the end of the day, it's good for business because, caring for your customers, is one of the most important values of running a good and successful business.
Trust me, a song just came into my sharing is caring. But that is important, to be candid. So, for those who haven't thought about actually getting, insurance, more so fire insurance, what would you say to encourage them to make that step before it gets too late? Because you never can tell. Anything can happen at any time.
First step, you should reach out to AXA Mansard. Very important. Reach out to AXA Mansard. Go on www.axamansard.com. There's a lot of different products aside from fire, but for the purpose of why we're here, insurance is a very important thing. It's better to be safe than sorry. It is better to be safe than sorry. And given the kind of economic times that we're in, it is very important that you are secure. Nobody expects a loss to happen, but when it does happen, you have to make sure that you're secure and you have a reliable partner like AXA Mansard to be by your side at the time where you have that loss, because there is no greater joy than having insurance, and when something like that happens, somebody is there for you and says, okay, I'm going to restore you back to the way you were prior to the loss.
Joy is coming.
Yeah, joy is coming pretty much. So it's a feeling that a lot of customers find very comforting when things like that happen. And we hear things like, if I didn't have insurance, I don't know what I would have done.
Right.
So for everyone out there, it's better to be safe than sorry. Have AXA Mansard by your side. We're here for you.
Be safe than sorry. And don't wait till something actually happens before you get insurance. That is one of the key things I have actually gotten from this conversation today, because you never plan for these things. You never wish it upon, as they say, you never wish it upon your enemy. I don't have enemies. I only have friends. But please, as you are looking at your weekend, one thing is certain: you want to be safe. You want to make everyone around you and the things you cherish, you want to keep them the way they are. So please make sure you do the needful. Get yourself your insurance. And for you to learn more, what you can do is reach out to AXA Mansard on their website. That is www.axamansard.com, or call toll-free 0700 AXA Mansard. Social media platforms are also available for you to reach out to them and share your thoughts. They also are available to, banter with you as well. On Facebook, X or Twitter, and on LinkedIn, it is at AXA Mansard. However, on Instagram, it is at AXA Mansard _. Well, Lagos, this is where we draw a curtain today and for the week on the AXA Mansard Safe Cruise. As always, like I'd say, keeping safe.
AXA Mansard Safe Cruise. Brought to you by AXA Mansard Insurance PLC. AXA, know you can.